Hi, everyone. Welcome to Experiencing Innovation and Entrepreneurial Leadership. I'm Raj Kavrula, and this week we're talking about your consciousness. And we've been talking about you applying my forward performance pyramid, my winning mental pyramid that shows the intrinsic relationship between your motivation, inspiration, attitude, mindset, and your intrinsic relationship between your mood and subconscious. When all of that is aligned, you experience consciousness. So think about it when it's not aligned. When it's not aligned is when you're distracted, when you're irritable, when maybe you're tired, uh, and then also the positive sides of things. When you're feel like you're uh, making progress, you're experiencing a performance breakthrough, you're uh, just having fun and enjoyment, you have a natural energy, you feel endorphins. And if you compare the two, the positive versus the negative, and you look at those performance variables, the performance factors, your intrinsic relationship between your mood and your motivation, inspiration. What is your focus, best vision? You ask yourself that before you go do whatever it is that you're doing. And when you have that kind of clarity, you'll see that when you do experience consciousness and all of those areas are aligned, those 4 areas of my model are aligned, you'll see that you did have a focused best vision. And you'll see that you did have the best attitude. And what I mean by that is a positive attitude. You taught yourself a positive attitude. What approach, body language, etc., eye contact, words to use. Okay. And then you had the right mindset. And that is what you think and how you think. And you actually valued what you think and the way you think, because it is valuable. And then you had your intrinsic relationship between your mood and subconscious. And mood is how you feel, bottom line, forward line, and action to achieve. And that's very important. Action to achieve, not just action by itself, but action to achieve. And so when all that's aligned, you have consciousness. Now, if you're distracted, you're tired, you're irritable, you're stressed, whatever it may be, you're not making progress in your sport, you're not having fun and enjoyment, or you're having difficulty getting to the next level, whatever it may be, look at one of those performance variables or performance factors, one of those areas, and see which one of those needs to be tuned. Because that's what I do for my athletes, that's what I do for my coaches, for the teams. And obviously, you know, sports can be a very challenging area. Not sports, but innovation and entrepreneurial leadership can be a very challenging area. Because basically you, for the most part, most people are solopreneurs, or they have an idea that on their own. And what they're having to do now is champion that and be able to form a team and communicate it to that team. And with their communication skills, they're able to do that. They form a vision and then, you know, be able to execute. And so it takes, you know, a lot of gumption, of mojo, of certainty, of wanting to serve and support and help people. Because obviously it's not just for you, because it wouldn't be successful if it's just for you. And so in innovation and entrepreneurial leadership, it's very important that you experience consciousness more and more. And as you do, and as you make progress, you'll start experiencing what a lot of people call the small wins, but what I call it is the zone. You'll start experiencing the zone. And when you're experiencing the zone, it's not this supernatural experience. It's basically a conscious experience. Now, as you're experiencing, what you need to be able to do is put into your mindset, into your being, that look, hey, I know or believe, know, and feel that this, whatever it is I learned or am applying, is a skill that I need to put into my brain. and use at the right time in the right situation again and build on. And because if you don't, then it's just going to go to waste, and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to build on those, and you'll see that you'll be able to very slight adjustments in it. It's basically the same skill, but just a little slight adjustment to it, and you'll be able to experience the zone more often. Now, a lot of people say, well, when I experience the zone, Raj, if I think about that I'm experiencing it, then I'm out of the zone. And that's because you're not versed enough, or you're not skilled enough to know that when you do experience the zone and you're conscious of it, what you want to do is you want to consciously stay in the zone as long as you can. Now, no one can stay in the zone the whole time, but you want to consciously feel that. And the zone simply is when things are in slow motion, time is not a deterring factor, and everything feels effortless. And so as you start doing that, you'll start to see that you're able to extend the zone more. Now, the challenge is that the zone, after you experience it, you can't just repeat it. It's not like a product where once you figure out the design and the assembly and how to manufacture a product, you put it through a process, and then at the end you get this widget or this product, right? And you can make 1,000,000 of those, or 1,000 or 100. It's the same product, right? Well, the zone's not like that. The zone, and it's actually great that it's not, it's a one-time experience. However, as you experiencing more and more often, you're able to advance it. You're able to take it forward. You're able to create a breakthrough, make progress, improve. You're able to increase. You're able to achieve, right? And so that's what I help and work with my clients on. And that's very, very important for you to be able to do that. And of course, one of the keys is obviously just learning to be able to do that. And what you'll see is that more and more as you continue in innovation, entrepreneurial leadership, it becomes more and more about communication, interaction, the mental skills, the mental toughness, the grit, the tenacity, the commitment, the putting together a performance breakthrough plan. All of those kind of factors will far outweigh the actual knowledge part. I'm not saying the knowledge part isn't important. Yes, it is. But in order for it to flow and get through to where it is that you're wanting to, or even pivot, you're going to continuously need to learn as you go to develop, build, and grow. Now, that sounds like that's challenging, and it is, but it's also a lot of fun. Now, the thing is obviously you need to have contingencies and realize what's realistic and what's not realistic, and really be able to eventually, after you do your research and gain some visibility, to be able to market yourself and build sustainable or create sustainable relationships. And so that's very, very important, and for you to do that. And so that's what the zone is in innovation and entrepreneurial leadership. Now, in doing that, sometimes, especially, you can become very challenged, especially when you're on your own and you're independent at the time being. It can be very challenging. And it can be actually quite almost brutal. And during those times, you can, try to think mental toughness, grit, commitment, tenacity. You have your performance breakthrough plan. You have your support system. You're supporting yourself, whatever it may be. But here's a tip. Put the word feel in there. So I feel mental toughness. I feel grit. I feel commitment, or I feel my commitment. I feel my forward performance breakthrough plan. And see, when you put feel in there, now you're getting the whole forward performance pyramid or winning mental pyramid aligned, because that's the achievable action. That's what you're feeling. And so another way is if you're having like an intrusive thought, or what people commonly refer to as a negative thought, And you can just simply say a couple of things. You can simply say or think to yourself, uh, mental pain feels good. And just that thinking and that those words will take that thought and say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. You're supposed to be like backing away and falling down, or quitting or being weak because I'm giving you negative thoughts. But no, when you think like that, you're confusing that thought. It doesn't know which direction to go. Because what you're supposed to say is, oh, this is so tiring and boring. I can't do this anymore. I quit. No, do just the opposite. Or go with it. Or you can go directly against it and say, I feel my grit going against that thought. Or I feel my grit going against that negativity. Or I feel mental toughness against that. Or I feel myself going against it. And see, what happens is again, you're just diverting that negative input into you, which we don't know where it's coming from. But wherever it's coming from, it's not wanted, it's not needed. And so you're diverting it, and it just dissipates. It'll eventually dissipate. And as it does that, what it will do is it will relieve your mindset. And as it relieves your mindset, you'll be actually building up your mental skills, your mental performance skills, or your life skills, right? And so that's really important because, a lot of people will tell you initially, it's very easy to say something's successful after it's been successful and in the market and doing well. Anybody can jump on then. But it's, when it's not, it's still in development and people are telling you that'll never work, or who are you to do that? What's your background? What's this? What's that? What's your experience? What's your expertise? Do you know how hard that is? All those kind of things. And you need to get through all that. And that's what the drive and the passion and the intensity that the innovator and entrepreneurial person feels. That creative, innovative idea just has an endorphin effect. And currently, right now, you're just not able to express it to someone in to a way that it's applicable and beneficial to them quite yet, but eventually you will be able to. And that's the whole process. And as you go through that process, you experience breakthroughs. And they could be small breakthroughs or big breakthroughs. And some of my smallest breakthroughs, what I really think are small breakthroughs, come from just my mindset and my mental performance skills. And one of them is exactly the tip I just gave you, and that is to feel mental toughness, or feel grit, or mental pain feels good. And you'll confuse the heck out of those negative thoughts. Another way to think of this is if you're familiar with Eric Hyndman, he won the Olympic gold in speed skating, and he'd ride a bicycle. And you've heard of this, when an athlete rides a bicycle or does something, there's the good pain and then there's the bad pain. The bad pain is, oh, you're going to get injured, you better stop, right? We know that. But there is the good pain is you're strengthening the muscle, you feel it and all of that. And so that's exactly what's happening when I'm telling you, if you're having a negative thought about your innovation and entrepreneurial leadership, is exactly that, is that you're experiencing what actually is a good pain. And as you combat it or compete against it, either by telling yourself mental pain, because the negativity is pain, feels good, to confuse it, or by going directly against it, saying mental toughness feels good, or my grit feels good, using the word feel, right? So that's how we align that whole forward performance pyramid, or winning mental pyramid. And that's what's consciousness. And that's when you'll start to experience the zone and experience breakthroughs in your innovation and entrepreneurial leadership. And so that actually was a zone effect of mine. this week, this segment. The zone effect for me was the last couple of days I had some challenges, and it's just some of those days where I just had to back off for a little while. In fact, today I didn't really start work until about 12, and I'll work. I'm working right now, so I'll work most of the afternoon and call it a day. But sometimes you just have those challenges, and I just realized that I just need to reorient myself and reorient my schedule, and realize I had the flexibility to do so, and understand why that was happening and what was causing that, instead of trying to combat it with too much rigidity and not enough flexibility. But the biggest thing that my zone effect, though, when I was doing all that, was to have this kind of thinking, to feel mental toughness, to feel grit, to feel commitment, or feel my commitment, and feel my performance breakthrough plan, right? So we always are reinvigorating ourselves, or stimulating ourselves, or creating those endorphins to get ourselves flowing again. And we do that all the time, and you need to be able to do that before, during, and after anything you're doing. And so that's what I have for you today. If something here resonates with you, you can contact me at 864-569-2315 or at rajgavrila.com. I hope you have a meaningful trigger for this evening. I do. Soccer season has started back up, so I'll be reffing again tonight. So I'm looking forward to that.